right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. I'm Stefan Spijkers and I'm the co-founder of PIM Vendors today. And today we have a session together with NovoMind on the AI-driven product content automation. I'm sure you have heard of artificial intelligence by now and the transformative impact that it'll have on the product content generation. ChatGPT is a generator of any type of text that you might want to have, and it is going to impact every step in the product data journey. And together with Patrick, we are going to explore how NovoMind is tackling, those revolutions and applying them in their product. And I'm very curious to see what that brings, because I think we've all sort of seen the possibilities, and we've also seen all the sort of interesting and interesting party tricks, I would say, but very few real value that is being delivered in a scalable, production-ready tooling, I'd say. So there's lots of things to explore, but before we get to that, maybe a quick introduction on PIM Vendors. PIMVendors.com is a consultancy that helps you with your product data challenges, and whether that is in the application of artificial intelligence and making that whole product data process smoother or more efficient. We also help you select a new PIM, a new product information management solution, and we do that independently. So we help you with a vendor agnostic shortlist based on our algorithm. And with that, if you now go to PIMVendors.com, maybe do that after the webinar, but if you go to our website, you'll find a lot of free tools. And one of those tools is our quick scan, a PIM scan that'll help you get that free independent shortlist. If you also want to know more about the costs that you might want to have, or you need to calculate a business case, there's tools that help you do that. And we also have lots of knowledge-based articles and recaps of previous webinars that you can explore if you want to learn more about the whole topic of product information management. That is enough about me and about PIM Vendors. You're here because you want to see how NovoMind is applying the AI changes, the AI transformation in their product. So without further ado, Patrick, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Thank you for having me here. I'm Patrick. I'm a sales guy with NovoMind, but especially I'm an enthusiast in product content automation, in automated system and system-based and quality-gated product data, product information workflows, very much AI-driven. And happy to show you some use cases and our philosophy with NovoMind of AI-driven master data and product content automation. Let's start with a short introduction on NovoMind. We are 25 years old this year, so founded in 2000. And today we have 250 plus successful, happy customers, and serve them with 500 dedicated experts, colleagues, teammates that are developing our standard software, who are implementing the standard software to our customers' architectures, and who are consulting them and talking to them on market trends, on the new challenges. And therefore we had in the last years, obviously, a lot of AI topics on our roadmap. And I want to show you how this looks like in the system. The system we are looking into today is mainly NovoMind iPIM, our enterprise full-blown PIM system. We also have a shop system, NovoMind iShop. We have a marketplace middleware with NovoMind iMarket. And we are also on the customer service software market with NovoMind iAgent, contact center software for all relevant channels to your customers in connection with the messaging API, from WhatsApp to maybe email or even a fax or a letter. But skip that for that old stuff for today. NovoMind is located in Hamburg. We are owned by the management team and the employees, so we take our own decisions on our strategy, and the output of the strategy of the last years is what is part of what you see today. We are not only implementing and developing our software, but also running it, hosting it for our customers in our own data center in Frankfurt. This is certified with any relevant standards and certifications. We are, as a company, 27001 certified and TISAX certified for the automotive industry, for big customers we have. And yeah, therefore, data security, GDPR are no challenges for us, as everything is located in the center of Europe. Coming to a little review and an outlook or the situation where we are today. NovoMind was founded 25 years ago. I mentioned it already, with the idea of bringing the internet and AI together with virtual agents for customer service. And that founding idea was effective, but not sole. We did a lot more and built up the other standard products with the PIM, shop system, marketplace middleware, and so on. And learned via rule-based chatbots and natural language understanding, came to AI services or rule-based services like product data onboarding, which is an AI product data onboarding today. Then we integrated first AI products to our product standard, which were before more custom features. And we formatted a dedicated AI team at NovoMind in 2021. After it was more or less a loose team before working on that topics, but yeah, we put it in the center of our development as well, along with our standard products. We established own software products, own front ends and backend systems for our AI infrastructure with the AI Hub, and we'll have a look into it when we come to the demo part in a few minutes. And we have an AI automation platform for setting up, orchestrating agent AI by the user without low-code level, without the necessity of coding or other stuff that usually the user levels can't do themselves. And today that agent AI topic comes further with establishing our own AI shopping assistant that curates the shopping experience of our customers in their shops, maybe on mobile devices or in whichever channel a customer wants to get information, purchase articles, items, to get him a premier experience and a good conversion and cart at the end. Yeah, so far where we came from and where we are today in the AI sphere at NovoMind. And I would switch over to a first classification of AI services we support. I talked about our AI Hub, which is the central platform for AI services in connection with our 4 software products, NovoMind iProducts on the left side here. And then AI Hub connects our software products with external AI, with our own developed NovoMind standard AI, and with NovoMind developed custom AI. So it is one interface, one platform to all the AI services, and that means that you have a central UI where you can orchestrate and overlook your AI services, set up new ones, and even orchestrate them in the sense of sequential workflows, like having, first of all, a text generation in the second step and translation into 10 languages, and then a quality check via maybe a second AI service that is asked if the input data are consistent with the output from the AI service. Coming to a little more specific use case, the product content creation. Not automation yet. That's just one example out of the big scope of opportunities the AI Hub together with NovoMind iPIM has. So we can think about giving attribute set from the PIM into the AI Hub, which is handed over to the AI service, maybe Gemini, OpenAI, whatever. We have services that include AI-driven internet search into the content creation process. Then we have the AI-driven text generation, and as mentioned before, we could have an additional AI-driven quality assurance. And we will see part of that workflow in a few minutes in this system. To start into the demo, I want to draw a journey of product data from the first contact your company might have with it. Maybe if it's a merchant company, trading company, it might be supplier data, or if it's a manufacturer with their own product development, it might be PLM, PDM, processes, systems, product development. However, there comes data from on the left side here. And these data need to be transformed, normalized, up or onboarded onto your data model, your, let's call it primary or house classification, to make all the product data normalized and fungible to syndicate them later on the right side to the different channels you might serve, like shop system, Google, digital product passes, maybe print, InDesign, B2B exports, marketplaces. Yeah, all the channels there might be. And on that journey, we have two separate tools within the PIM domain, within the iPIM domain. First is for the data onboarding, the iPIM supply, and the second is then the PIM itself, where the product data are held and syndicated later on. And on that journey, we have a lot of AI services and use cases that can help us. And here we start with topics like you're getting unstructured data from your own PLM, PDM department, or from suppliers like PDFs, textual information that are not structured into granular attributes, for example. You're receiving images and other assets. And that's the first step where I'd like to step into the demo, into our system, to show you how we handle such challenges in a combination with our AI Hub. Therefore, I switch to my Firefox, and my page here is the homepage of our AI Hub. The UI gives you several services you can use for any use cases you are aiming to fulfill with your product data, assets, and so on. And these services that are connected to the AI Hub can be used within workflows. And let's start with another profile, with my image analytics profile, where I have one workflow. We remember the topic of AI image analytics. And therefore, I'm using this workflow, Gemini image. And when I open this workflow configuration, I have the opportunity to configure it, to include services, to compose a workflow. When I talk about sequential workflows, to test it out of the UI here and not from the system it is delivered to via an endpoint, maybe. So that means our AI Hub can be connected with third-party software as well. It's not necessarily used by NovoMind iProducts like the PIM, the shop, marketplace middleware, or the contact center software, but it is available from third-party systems as well. But for my little showcase here, my little use case here, we switch into the configuration I have the idea of the workflow here, and that's connected to the showcase UI I'm showing in a few seconds. Here's a prompt just saying perform image analysis of the given image as follows. I ask for a couple of information. I give a structure how I expect the output, and therefore if I would like to change the prompt here, I could easily do it and save it, and then have immediately the new setup of the prompt in that case, front end for AI image analytics. So I can test it, and yeah, when it's mature after prompt engineering iterations, then I can introduce it into my product content automation workflow. Therefore, please excuse that UI is in German. That's not an UI anybody works with it when the use case or when the workflow is used in productivity, but it's just to show what the interface, what the AI service does in the background, because usually these information are processed in the background and then just added to the product in the PIM. But for now, I just have a product image here of a nice t-shirt, copy the URL and add it here. I think that's nothing new, because everybody here may have tested something like that before. So we process that image with the prompt asking for target colors, background colors, image type, like it's a model image. The manufacturer is not identifiable, and the product number name as well. We have a text on it. And at the end, we got a recommendation for a target audience in the sense of a maybe persona, contextualized, sensitive product content at the end. We've got an advertising slogan in the first step. One first part of where we can support with, for example, in image analytics, to classify images, to add meta information, to create an alt text for the purpose of reducing limitations for people who maybe can't identify the colors. So yeah, for a barrier-free experience. Yeah, that's the first step. And as a second step, if we look here, we have the text to attribute topic. And here I introduce you to my showcase product today, which is Sunshade, which is a garden umbrella or cantilever umbrella. That's just a PDF, and we could get such a document from our supplier. And here I can now manually just extract some text here, Control C, and I come to a second demo UI, our text generation UI. I don't want to generate text, but I want to extract attributes via OpenAI. I just Control V, insert my text here, and we will have a look onto the prompt in the background in the AI Hub again. So I switch into my text generation demo profile, and here I have the OpenAI attribute value recognition with PDF to text, and that's again no surprise. I'd like to have all contained attribute extracted. I give some examples, and I want the output in English, both keys and values. And I want a product description with 100 words. Yeah, so that's the prompt here. And when I process that step, then we will get a result that we have a product type, a cantilever umbrella. Here's the product description with about 100 words we asked for. We have application recommendations. So we got some features, size, height, and so on to get such information together. But now, what helps to have this information here in the UI? We are talking about integrated product content automation, product information extraction. When we look on that slide here with AI asset analytics. And that's what I show you now. And now comes a clue with iPIM supply and the automated adaptation of the data we just extracted or identified manually. Within the NovoMind iPIM, I already have the product just to show you how the result at the end should look like. We've already got, it's like a good cook, something's prepared. We already got some attribute here and we saw them in the text generation or in the attribute recognition as well. But from my iPIM portal, I want to switch to one module of the iPIM, and that's the iPIM supply. iPIM supply is that onboarding tool in combination with the iPIM supplier self-service portal that enables you or your suppliers to onboard the supplier data or the internal data, PDM, PLM, product development onto the house classification, the data model of your PIM. And in the first step, we switch into the iPIM supply. And this is a catalog-based product data onboarding portal, which means in that asset analytics process, we will put the full PDF into supply. There will be a process of onboarding that file to a Zoom and image server in the background. That image will be handed over to the AI Hub, and in the background to the AI services we connect in that case, together with the prompt and the file, and then we receive granular product data into NovoMind iPIM supply, where we can transform them onto our data model, and on that way, through the AI Hub, we are able to ask the PIM data model based on the classification, based on the pre-classification of the product or products we identify in the asset for the specific classification, category, attribute set, and ask specifically for these attributes. iPIM supply works in 4 steps. We have an import, we have a transformation of the data. All this here so far is done within the import step. We will see right after the slide. Then the data are transformed. You may approve if you just want to list a selection of the supplier data maybe. And in the last step, when you have already quality gated and normalized product data, they are synced into the PIM system. Back to the AI asset analysis in the system. When I open my demo catalog, the PIM Vendors webinar catalog, you see that 4 steps. The catalog is set up as JSON, which is created from a PDF. I need to name a starting node, a root node, and I need to define unique item IDs. Otherwise, we couldn't validly check for duplicates. And regarding the inclusion of the AI process in this catalog here, PIM Vendors Webinar Catalog, we address one service, which is called the Asset to Attribute PIM Vendors Webinar Service. And if I step back into my AI Hub, wrong button. If I step back into my AI Hub, here we go. Then we find in my showcase or showroom profile this workflow here, a PIM Vendors Asset to Attribute workflow, which has a configuration to, it's a sequential workflow. So here could be more steps, but I only use one in that case. And I have a prompt here. You're given a PDF document, etc. pp, goal, extract, and structure. To show it a little bit easier than here in the system, I prepared a Word document where the prompt is shown. So I ask for analyze the PDF, extract and write the information into a specific JSON object. And I need that top node product. And then I give some examples, which information might be extracted. And I give an example how the JSON format should look like. That always helps to get a valid result at the end. I don't want the system to infer or guess any values not explicitly present in the PDF. That's not so easy, because we all know about AI hallucination, and despite you state this, sometimes while testing, still things happen. When you then engineer the prompt a little, you get really stable 100% results regarding really detailed and granular extraction of valid product data out of such a PDF. Back to the PDF, that's how it looks like. That is what I will now put into the workflow within iPIM supply, and then we will have that just show AI workflow in the background. Live PIM Vendors webinar catalog. Let's start. I will just open this file here, Sunaway product data sheet PDF, and start the importing. It's usually between 3 and 10 seconds. Okay, pretty good today. So we have a green light. That means we have a valid results. iPIM supply could find the product's root node, and we have one item imported. Instantly, we can find that item in the item list, and I'm now a little nervous how the result is, but it looks good when we open it and look on the detailed product data extracted from the PDF. Yeah, we have a supply item ID, we have the item name, and we have some information, a description, features, top features. We have the weight, we have the OV protection factor, we have the total height, and so on.
Just a quick question, Patrick. So
yeah.
The attributes are also, they are not pre-configured, or were they pre-configured?
The attributes we ask for, you mean?
Yeah, so the UV protection factor, for example, that was predefined?
In this case, let's look into the prompt again. Yeah, so we have regarding my standard prompt, it's a generic prompt, has information like in case of certification or standards or protections like IP rating or UV protection. Yeah, please give such information. But in that case, we didn't ask specifically for the attributes that are shown here, but in that data sheet with the keys, yeah, very clearly shown here, like material, total weight, pole diameter, and so on. Yeah, it's not so hard for the AI to identify them, I would say. So yeah, it's just for showing. And the good result here comes from the structure of the PDF. Yeah, because that's just good showcase here.
It's not the most difficult PDF, but having to do this manually for a whole catalog of 10,000 products is a different cost from a time perspective than doing this through AI. Even if the data that is put in as input is structured and well structured and, well, I don't want to say cleansed, but like, yes, this might be relatively easy for AI, but this is also very time consuming for humans.
Exactly. That's a use case, and that's why this feature in different specifications is used by a lot of our customers, not only with PDFs, also with, for example, CSV or XMLs or Excels that contain text blocks and not granular attributes. And then it doesn't depend if there's one product or 100 products or 10,000 products in the catalog. And therefore you have a huge lift of productivity. And I would say basically opportunity to onboard this data, because the most companies don't have the resources to onboard like 10,000 articles from a supplier catalog granularly. So you only will have the article number, maybe a price, a weight, some logistical data, but you couldn't do all the content stuff manually from my point of view. Yeah, so that's our result here. Back to the catalog. We are in the process. We did that first step of importing it. So we have it in the iPIM supply now. We can see the item in the system. It's not yet in the PIM. The PIM doesn't know of the product yet. Because now the next step, and the next very important step of the transformation needs to take place. And regarding the transformation, another AI service out of the AI Hub helps. And that's in that case the topic of mapping the new identified product data onto your house classification. We can have a smart classification, a smart classifier, which means, which kind of product is it? Is it a sunscreen or is it a shoe, maybe? And that helps, because if it's a sunscreen and not a shoe, you would not need to look up the sole material, for example. And the second step would be the data mapping. So mapping the imported data onto the data model, the classification attribute model of the PIM behind the onboarding process. This is a very nice example for using the workflows in different situations, because the topic of smart classification and smart mapping of data, of attributes and their values, helps on the one hand in the product data onboarding, but on the other hand in the syndication of these data to marketplaces. That's a symbol for our iMarket marketplace middleware. And we can use these services in iMarket as well to map your product data, e.g. on the target data model of Amazon or Zalando or whichever marketplace. So let's have a look into the AI data mapping as an example as well. I opened the transformation, and as I didn't set up any automations here to be able to show it, I have no mappings here. And in a manual way, I would now open a new automatic attribute detection, which just means that we find the new attributes that are stated in that JSON file, all identified from the asset analysis workflow. And when we talk about that AI mapping, that can be done automatically in the background, but that's not so good to show. So when we have an article number here and I want to choose an attribute, we immediately have the AI mapping recommendation in that in that case, the iPIM article number, which is the right one. And for the description, we would now have the short description, or I would like to have the long description. And I could find, let's say we had the diameter as well, but that doesn't make sense. And that's not recommended, obviously, by the AI. So here we would have it on the long description. So that's a manual way, and I don't want to do it so far. So I just load a mapping profile, which I prepared, and did this via an AI job. So it's just a sunscreen mapping profile. Here are all the mappings. Save it. And now I have the second step prepared but not fulfilled. And the fulfillment, when I start the transformation now, will lead to an error, just to show you how errors look like. So I open the transformation report and see that we have in one case an invalid or not yet matched lookup value, which just means that we have a bright lime green as a supplier attribute color, and I need to map this onto a valid color of my data system. I could create a new value here, but that's not my goal. So I just open the lime green here, map the value. So click too much again, save, value mapping saved. Thank you. Once again, yeah, now it's done. And now I could go through the further process with the approval. So I want to overtake all the products into the PIM and to synchronize the product into the PIM in the last step. If I have a variety of items here, I could give them attribute for getting a brace, a product item structure. Like in that case, I would take maybe the long description and would have then the products. We skip the synchronization. We already had the product in the PIM. But that's, yeah, just once in a showcase, very simple, but this is a extremely powerful tool with complex product data inputs. And we did it now live from the import of a PDF over the transformation approval and then into the PIM later on. Yeah, for that point, I would ask for any other questions at that point, and otherwise.
Yeah, if there are any questions, people can drop them in the comments. I think it's super interesting that it combines everything, Patrick. So I'm just processing sort of in a way, I thought maybe like adding AI to every workflow is going to make it much more scalable and much more efficient, right?
Yeah.
But it is not easy. I think that is sort of my key takeaway here. It is still a lot of configuration and making sure I think you call it orchestration somewhere. It is a word that we hear a lot in the context of AI and different models. It is orchestration. It is an AI architecture, and setting that up and making sure that works smoothly. Much more than just throwing AI at the problem, right? Or just linking everything up to DeepSeek or Gemini or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. At the end, the aim must be that you can automate the process independent of the number of information you put into it and get the output, and get a specific confidence level of, let's say, you want 99.7% confidence level of right information at the end, because people doesn't have a better confidence level with their manual work. And so getting there is a question of prompt engineering, the orchestration, and practicing in iterations, the workflow, the automation.
Yeah, I think what surprises me is the deep integration of the tooling and the whole set of orchestration tools that NovoMind that you have built around it, right? So I think that is super interesting to see how it all works together, how it all clicks together, how you have the human in the loop, and that it is, yes, it is, I would say, complicated. Like there are multiple steps and there are configurations, and you share the prompts, and there's lots of prompt engineering, and there's lots of things that need to come together. But it is also easy enough that you can just go through onboarding one product in a PDF during a live session within 30 minutes. I think if you would have done that manually, might have taken 10 minutes, but it was pretty straightforward.
But manually is not scalable.
No.
And when we come to the next steps, we will see where we started with AI in the PIM, because I would show the text generation topic and text translation topic, content creation topic in the PIM as well as a last step. And as an outlook, I mentioned it before, the topic of agent AI, agentic AI, and for example, the shopping assistant up or leading to topics like autonomous commerce, where only agents communicate. We have it already today in the B2B business where there's a demand and where there is an offer and they are matched in terms of availability, time of delivery and a price and so on. But I think we will see it in let's say B2C fair in the future as well. It's already practiced when you think about refrigerators that scan the products you're taking out of them. What Amazon tried with Amazon button and so on. But I think we will see it much more, and therefore we need that granular data we are creating here in the first step. Yeah, but to make it or to close the circle today regarding the demo, back into my system. In the first step, I talked about we have that iPIM supply as an onboarding system, and we have a supplier self-service portal. And in that portal, we can now see our catalog. We just processed the LivePIM vendors webinar catalog. Timing, that's a creation timing. So that was last imported at 11:32 and last validated at 11:42. So I open that catalog here, and as a supplier now, as an external person, supplying you with products and product data, I can now see the status of my products in the transformation workflow, the onboarding workflow. I could upload here updates of the PDF, for example, myself, and I could even map and transform the data here on myself, but I showed it in supply today. I've got the item list we've just had in supply as well. It's a little bit more handsome here, but supply is a little bit mightier, and you can do the whole step because, for example, the synchronization of the data from the onboarding system to the PIM would not be allowed to the supplier, but that's always the right and the domain of the owner of the PIM itself. And then when the product is in the PIM, as it is right here, we have a product quality index, which is here only 37%, but it's enough to be satisfactory. It's in the workflow on the stage of maintaining images and maintaining texts. And if I have a look on the text, then I can see that we have 3 texts here, advertising texts in Dutch, English, and German. Okay, so I will try to proceed with the maintain texts workflow task, and that is denied because when we open our workflow module, which shows the workflow in a BPMN format and also enables you to modify the workflow in line with existing hooks and strategies, then we can see here the standard showcase workflow we have in our showcase here. First step, we need to maintain product data, and the prerequisite to finish that workflow is a valid product grade of 1, 2, or 3. Remember we had with our umbrella quality index of 3. So the first light signal may be green. And now it comes to maintain product text. And the prerequisite says that we need a plain text on the product. Okay, we had an advertising text. That's why it was not okay to go further in the workflow. And I will create the text now, but first show the effect of that workflow step. And that's the automation part. It's a very, very small example, but you can fully automate the full workflow. You can check as a quality gate for the relevant product data, mandatory attributes, and a minimum set of optional product attributes. If this gate is automatically checked, you can automatically create text, and then you can automatically translate it into, let's say, 27 languages. Yeah, and if you have all that information and a price and a sales channel, you can syndicate that product into the world of e-commerce. Yeah, back to my very small part of automation. When I do the product text in German in that case, then I will have two effects. The light signal switches to yellow, because for green, I need an English text. And the second effect is to have an automatic translation into a French text. This is done in the AI Hub via our DeepL workflow. So there's not much configuration, obviously, but just to show it. And back to my product. When I now get back to the text tab, I have some feature favorites here, text generation and translation. And when I generate a plain text, that's what I'm asked for in English on the OpenAI text generation service in that case, then I will have a text. Let's see the result. A plain text introducing the perfect addition to your outdoor living spaces, elegance, enhance your outdoor comfort and style effortless with this exceptional umbrella. Where does that tone come from? It's again workflow in the background. In that case, my showroom 8 text generation. Again, the configuration, generate a product description from attribute values and consider the following when generating the text. We have a target audience, that's senior residences. I could now simply switch it to kindergarten, or let's call it daycare, children daycare. And then we will have a different result in the tone and in the topics mentioned. So I overwrite the first text already there. Introducing our vibrant and durable play canopy. Yeah, works. So now for my process, I need it in German. So I just do the translation via DeepL into German. Now I have the German text, and now I can check my workflow, maintain texts. It was finished successfully. We have a yellow button here because the English product text or translate product text into English needs to be done as well. Now we have it green, and we should now have the automatic French translation of all the texts that are there. Here we go, and that's the automation. That's the automation I wanted to have of the two French texts here that were translated from the plain and the advertising text because of the workflow. Yeah, so now we have a nice product. We need to check images and to do like a category management job as at the end if we want to do it. Otherwise, we automate it after testing the workflows, testing the quality gates over a period of time and a number of products. And as soon as the level of of the significance level, the confidence level of my automated generated product data is good enough, I just audit. That's the full workflow, or a part of a possible full workflow I wanted to show today with my sun umbrella. Stefan, what's going on?
We're coming up on time. I think that's going on. There's too much to discuss, I would say. I think what you did was try to put everything in one session in 1 hour, which you did perfectly well. I think there's lots of things I would still like to discover and delve in deeper, like the workflow session. The workflows part is a separate session already. The setup of the whole AI hub is well, we dived in a bit deeper there today, but I think warrants another session. So I can imagine that people have questions. Not sure we have time to answer those. We don't. But if
Sorry.
you have questions, you can reach out to Patrick, and we will definitely be back with another version where we hope to spend some more time on the subjects that we were not able to cover in detail today. And if you want to cover some of those, right? So the workflows, or maybe more on the supplier onboarding and the PDF mapping, because you have 10,000 of PDFs that you need to onboard from a supplier, let us know. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or reach out to Patrick, and we either create a personalized demo for you, or we'll be back with a new webinar for all of you where we dive into those topics. So yeah, let's definitely pencil that in. Patrick, do you have any closing thoughts for the audience? Maybe where they can reach you?
Yeah, just via LinkedIn, via email, just reach out to me. I'm happy to get in contact. And yeah, one thought I always have and share is to just don't be afraid of AI or to use it in your company. Just try it out. Give the people some time, some resources to get in touch, because it will be the one central tool of our future, and to be honest, in many cases already of our today's work. And get in touch with it. And if you want to try it out, quality gated system based and maybe fully automated, NovoMind could be a good partner in that case.
I
Thank
think
you.
so. Thanks for your time today, Patrick. We'll be back, I'm pretty sure. Thanks also to the audience for sticking around, and I hope you had an inspiring session. I definitely had. I am a bit scared now, maybe, Patrick, but it is also, I think, natural that we're finally getting to the point where AI was a cool tool where you could create like amazing, I don't know, song texts based on your product, which was fun, but it wasn't really applicable in a production environment. Or you could create videos that are nice, or images that are nice, but not really useful. And now we're getting to a point where it is actually usable at scale, with or without a human in the loop. And I'm going to think about what I saw today. So thanks. See you next time. And I want to wish everyone a good day today. And if you missed some part of the recording, we'll be sharing that with you. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to Patrick or to me on LinkedIn. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.